Hey everybody, welcome to Who the Hell Asked. This week you got Slade as well as Byron. How's it going, Byron?
Hey, it's going all right.
And we're going to go over this previous week's news. I know we said we were going to do the E3 predictions, but we're actually going to do something a little bit different for
Yeah,
that.
and I said maybe. I said maybe. I said there was a chance, but
Yeah, so without any further ado, let's get underway. So to start off the week, Nintendo hit us with a pretty big bombshell announcement, actually. So on April 27th, I believe that was Tuesday.
uh, yes,
No, that was. Am I crazy? Pardon, I'm crazy. No, I was right.
yeah,
So
yeah,
on
dude.
Tuesday, they posted about an update for Super Mario Party,
Yes, yes, they did.
and it's a pretty huge update. Byron, you want to go into the specifics?
Yes. So, you can now play the following modes over the internet: Mario Party mode, Partner Party mode, and free play. Now, prior to this, you could only play uh certain mini games online. You could only play 10 different mini games over the internet. You couldn't even play the board game with people. So for this to be released was fucking like it was like the top one of the top games streamed on Twitch with at one point over like 80,000 viewers watching people play Super Mario Party online, and like everybody was like, "Whoa, what the fuck? What what are you doing, Nintendo? Just dropping it like it's hot on us?"
Yeah, so obviously this is pretty huge because this is the first officially supported online Mario Party game in the entire series,
Yes,
which pretty huge because mini game support is one thing, but seeing people actually able to play the boards and whatnot,
yeah,
friends over the internet, this is absolutely huge for the entire series. So this is a really good update. I think to me, this more than doubles the value that the game initially had, especially in middle of the pandemic as we are right now, where you can't really go out and play with your family and friends and whatnot, risk of
It
spreading
depends on
COVID.
whether like you live with them or not.
Yeah, it's a living situation kind of thing.
Yeah,
Whereas now you can play with anyone, anywhere, from the comfort of your own home.
yeah, and
So
something good when playing over the internet, all 20 characters and all maps are available regardless of your current product. That's pretty good. That's
yeah, that's actually really cool that they did that. So Byron, you've played it a little bit. Give me your opinion on it.
yes. Uh, so I have played over the past less than a week. I have played 3 different games, and all 3 of them ran for the most part shockingly pretty damn smooth. There were a few hiccups with certain mini games, but that was few and far between, which is absolutely gobsmacking considering how Nintendo Online usually.
This is probably in part to the fact that this probably isn't running on Windows 98 like the majority of their other online games, but it's probably a game that's using the new updated internet that Nintendo uses for their servers now.
Yeah,
So, as I said, that's fantastic.
yeah, and
So,
oh yeah, something I want to know because I had to use the feature for the third game that I. This is, I believe, the very first Nintendo game to use the feature I think they released over a year ago. The invite friend feature.
yeah, it's
This is
actually
the
insane
first
that it took him until
Nintendo game.
now.
Yeah, this is the first Nintendo game. There have been a few third-party games to use it, but this is the first Nintendo one to use it, which is bonkers. Not Smash, not Mario Kart, not Animal Crossing. No, it's Super Mario Party. It's the first Nintendo game to use this.
I'm hoping this is a sign of more things to come for Nintendo Online functionality in general.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
overall, this sounds like it's just a fantastic experience overall, and it's definitely possibly Nintendo's best online experience currently on the platform. Would you go that far?
Uh, I haven't played Mario Kart in a while, so I'd have to see about that.
But you would definitely say it was better than Smash and other.
Absolutely.
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 So,
And there's some speculation I want to do, but I'm going to actually save that for whenever we do.
yes. So, as I said, this is absolutely fantastic news. I hope we continue to see more updates like this. Like I said, this also breathes new life into Super Mario Party. Byron was just
Yeah,
commenting on
absolutely it does. Now,
fucking
I
80,000
disagree.
Twitch viewers.
Now, I disagree that it doubled the value of Super Mario. It definitely increased the value for sure.
Well, I mean, think about how much value did it have when people aren't able to travel and consistently play with other people and whatnot, compared to being
From
playing
that
all the time.
perspective,
If anything, I think doubling is putting it lightly. It could have tripled or quadrupled its value even. I mean, literal value, it was still selling for a full price $59.99 game.
or $49.99.
But I'm just talking like an arbitrary kind of value where it's like not like a literal value, but
okay, yeah. Phrase it like that, yeah.
yeah. So I said this is huge. This is
But
absolutely huge for Super Mario Party. I hope more games get the same treatment. And like I said, Nintendo's online games supporting their new service and not their Windows 98 shit they were running.
Yeah.
Like Monster Hunter Rise has fantastic load times online and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
And there's no connectivity issues I've noticed so far with that.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this becomes a normal for the a norm, I guess.
Yeah, and hopefully this becomes normal for the Mario Party series as a whole.
Yes, because I feel like games, now that they've done this, need to come out with this feature already attached to it. Which hopefully, after doing it the first time, it'll be much easier for them to do it every other time afterwards. But
yeah, you would hope, but we'll see. But yeah, once again, great feature, work damn near full.
So, like I said, absolutely huge news. We're gonna go ahead and move on. So, during the beginning of the week, The Verge posted a story on Fortnite and where their largest profits are drawn from.
Yes.
And surprisingly to a lot of people, Fortnite draws the largest amount of profit from the PlayStation 4.
Yes, it does. So,
Byron, you want to go into specifics on that for me?
Yes, I will. So, court documents, because for those who don't know, Epic has been in a lawsuit trial against Apple because Epic circumvented the App Store payment system so that Mr. Tim Sweeney would give Apple their cut of App Store purchases, Fortnite microtransactions, and all that, and blah, blah, blah. And court documents revealed that the PlayStation 4 generated 46.8% of Fortnite's total revenue from March of 2018 to July of 2020. 46.8%. That's pretty huge.
Oh, yeah.
Damn near 50%.
That's what I said. Damn near half, man. Damn near half.
The Xbox One, the second highest platform, generating 27.5%. iOS ranked 5th with just 7% of total revenue. The remaining 18.7% would have been split between Android, Nintendo Switch, and PC. PlayStation being the biggest one, absolutely gobsmacked, because I thought it would have been, honestly, iOS, which would have been the biggest source of revenue.
Yeah, so I was looking at this, and I was pretty gobsmacked by it as well. I did think consoles were going to make up the majority of the revenue. I didn't think the PlayStation 4 would be over or damn near 50% of the revenue just by itself. I thought like PlayStation would have been towards the top at like, maybe 25 to 30% of the revenue, and Xbox would be like slightly behind it. I actually thought more of the revenue would have been on PC. So that's what's really caused me a lot of shock overall. But I mean, outside of that, it's pretty huge because it shows that the iPhone and the iPad can like amounted to just 5 to like 7% of the revenue overall.
Yeah, and that's what Epic's going after. They're the 7%, but I have seen some people speculate that, oh, if they win the case somehow, which I don't think they, but that's another talk. If they win against iOS with 7%, that might give them the justification to go after, I don't know, maybe Xbox with their 27%, or just jump straight to the big boy if Sony 8%. Because Epic's whole lawsuit is Apple should have closed gardens on phones, and if that happens, and if like Epic wins, it opens up a can of worms for consoles and blah blah blah. But
Yeah,
still, some
so
interesting numbers. So.
for sure, I don't see a world where Epic does win this case overall because I think, you know, a store has the right to choose what they can and can't sell on their store. So I don't understand where Epic is trying to really impose its will, seeing as they develop the products that the store sells, on why they think their lost revenue on iPhone and iPad really. I don't know. I guess I can't really come up with like the phrasing or the wordage for it. Well, long story short, I just don't see Epic like coming out on top of this, and I don't see them, even if they win, going after, PlayStation and Xbox One, considering that they have a really strong, healthy relationship with both of those companies.
Well, especially
Considering they
Sony.
put things like Master Chief and Kratos and all those
Yeah,
other kind of
yeah,
characters into their game,
yeah,
I
and
think it would be
especially
detrimental for them to burn bridges with everybody that they've had partnerships with.
well,
So
and also considering that Sony has been an investor in
yeah,
Epic itself.
so
So I don't know. Maybe the
that doesn't
greed
make
takes
much sense to
over.
me.
Maybe the greed takes over, and Tim Sweeney wants the Epic Game Store on everything.
They would like burn every bridge if they did that, though. That I don't see that being realistic. Okay, so while we're talking about Sony,
Yeah.
because I guess Sony is one we've most prominently brought up there, they recently released their earnings report.
Yeah.
According to the earnings, the PlayStation 5 sold 7.8 million units as of March 31st, 2021, with 3.3 million being shipped in the past quarter. God knows how many of those are in the hands of scalpers versus actual people. It's neither here nor there. We won't really get into that. But obviously, the demand significantly outweighs what they're supplying right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and for
I
for
think,
reference, the PS4 sold 7.6 million in this same time. So it's not a big jump from the PS4, but it's still a jump of 200,000, which is not
yeah,
insignificant.
no, and I think part of that is because the PS4 also suffered from the same supply versus demand issues. They weren't able to supply the PS4s to hit the streets in the market.
Yeah.
And as I said, the PS5 suffering the same thing. These numbers could have been much huger had demand been able to meet that, or that early supply was able to meet that demand. But
Yeah.
neither here nor there. What this tells us is that the PS5 is every bit the successful console that the PS4 and the PS2 were.
Oh,
So
absolute. And I'm still gonna stick with my gut that the PS5, at the end of the day, it's gonna sell around 100 million. Like damn
yeah,
near
that
every other
seems to
place.
be pretty normal for the PlayStation
Yeah.
platform to get to their 100 million. I mean, even the PS3, which got off to a rocky start, still ended up with like what 86, 87 million or something.
Yeah, somewhere around. Yeah.
Yeah, so as I said, they're going to continue to sell their units. Sony fans seem to be pretty loyal to the company for the most
Yeah.
part.
And here's some interesting games. 338.9 million games were sold in for PS4 and PS5. This includes both packaged and digital copies. 65% of that were sold via digital downloads, higher than the 53% ratio last year. 17%, I assume it's 17% of the total sales were first party. That's nuts. It's getting
Yes,
ever closer to 70, 75, 80% digital download.
yeah. So my takeaway from this, because obviously I think the pandemic also had something to do with people buying more digital things
Oh,
instead of just
absolutely. I
physical.
would be
I
shocked
think
if it
there's
didn't.
that's a large part of that. But I think the other part of it that I take away from it is, like you were saying, we are heading towards a digital age. Digital sales and whatnot do seem to be the future and
Mm.
whatnot.
Yeah,
So are
like,
streaming services, and it seems like Sony is just really on top of it for
yeah.
right now.
Mm.
As for their first party game sales and whatnot, I don't think that's terribly surprising considering how many top third parties also make games for both the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
In fact, if anything, that startles me that that number is as low as it is,
Mm.
considering that I would argue what Nintendo first party titles are
Mm.
like 70% or like 60% of what people buy on the Switch.
Well, Sony, I don't think released that many first-party games in the course of the past fiscal year.
That's true. So I think the only first party games they developed were The Last of Us Part 2
Last of
and
Us Part 2, Miles Morales, Demon Souls, the Sackboy Adventure game, and probably another one I'm forgetting. But
yeah,
yeah,
but
those are the only ones
20
I can think of off of my head.
17% is still relatively impressive overall.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And then one last thing, PlayStation Plus subscribers was at 47.6 million as of March, as of the end of March, up from 41.5 million last year. But the monthly active users for the PlayStation Network is down by about 6.
which last year, this is where numbers were heavily inflated due to the pandemic. So that's completely understandable.
Yeah.
So overall, Sony seems to be being very successful with their new platform. I don't think anybody's terribly surprised there. Um, I honestly can't wait till we see some Microsoft earnings, so we could like compare and contrast the two. Because I heard that Microsoft's also struggling with supply and demand, so I wonder how their launch is currently going. So
Yeah.
moving on to our next and last story.
Ooh, this is a
So yeah,
story
this
that
is a
came
bit
out.
of a crazy one. So Toys for Bob is having layoffs from Activision, and the employees that are still there are currently working on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I
So
believe this originally came from a Twitter post from a current employee,
a former employee.
former employee,
Yeah. So
about what's going on in the situation. And really, this just seems to be a reaction to the financial success or lack thereof for Crash 4 It's About Time. Byron, what do you think?
uh so according to Nicholas Cole from Happy Rock, apparently everybody he interfaced and worked with were let go. Now, it is Toys for Bob just helping for the pandemic, because there have been murmuring that Call of Duty development has been fucking an absolute shit show for this year's game. That like basically everybody is like, it's all hands on deck. Because look at what happened to Vicarious Visions a few months back. They basically got gutted to help out with Blizzard. So maybe that's an indication, since they're seemingly doing the same thing for Toys for Bob with Call of Duty. Now, is this a permanent thing? Who knows at this moment? It's not looking good though for like Crash Bandicoot Spyro, which Crash 4 is Crash. That game just got like straight. I'll say that right now. That game got straight fucked with the fact that the first time it came out towards right at the end of that PS4 Xbox generation, right? Like the month before the PS5 was coming out and the Xbox Series S and X were coming out. So that kind of fucked it. And then the PC version being Battle.net exclusive and being online only on Battle.net and just not being on Switch and quick enough. Because the Insane Trilogy did insanely well on Switch. And the price point of the Insane Trilogy might not have.
Yeah, so releasing right as the next gen consoles were coming out and staying exclusive to the older consoles probably was something that hurt the game quite a bit.
Yes.
But I think the biggest thing that hurt the game, outside of not being available on the next gen consoles, was also not being available on the Switch, where these type of platformers appear to be most successful. The sales numbers as of the end of November, around the 23rd, showed that they sold roughly 402,000 digital units for, It's About Time. Whereas in the same period of time for the first month, the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy sold 520,000 digital units, despite only being on sale for 1 day in that period of time, as well as not even getting into the physical copies, which significantly and utterly outweigh Crash 4 It's About Time. So, long story short, it seems like the initial release of the game just completely flopped to their at least flopped compared to their expectation. Obviously, 500,000 units sold is nothing to sneeze at. That's still pretty successful for most video games. But for something with the time, money spent into it, and being, a major Western competitive, platformer compared to other platformers, that just doesn't cut it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfortunate, but it seems like Crash 4 kind of just flopped altogether. We still do not have numbers for the Switch sales since it released in March. However, it has topped monthly sales charts since the Switch release. Mm-hmm. So to me, this seems a bit premature, considering from all accounts pointing to the Switch version being massively successful so far.
Yeah.
But as I said, this does seem to be a reaction to the game performing on all three of the platforms overall, and just not meeting the heights and expectations that the Insane Trilogy.
And I think, honestly, a few things really fucked. A, obviously, B, $60 price. Now, if the Insane Trilogy was priced at $60, which I was kind of shocked at, that might have put off or made the stigma less prevalent for non-Mario platformers to be able to charge a $60 price, which is definitely a very prevalent thing, which is kind of sad, but that's different.
Yeah, it is pretty sad, honestly, when you think about that.
And then obviously, like, platforms they were on, and what platforms they weren't on right away, or ACE. But so according to Nicholas Cole, there were layoffs. However, Activision has made a statement saying they gave a statement to Games Radar with the following.
I have it in front of me. Reports of layoffs at Toys for Bob are incorrect. There has not been a reduction in personnel recently at the studio. The development team is operating fully and has a number of full-time job openings at this time. The studio is excited to continue supporting Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, and more recently provide additional development support to Call of Duty Warzone. So it seems like Activision themselves are refuting the claims of layoffs from the former employee overall. And this has kind of turned into a he said, she said situation. I think there's a possibility that Activision could very well be lying to this PR statement. I mean, companies do this all the time. Layoffs could definitely be something that's very prevalent happening. Until someone like Jason Schreier comes out and reports on the situation or something, I can't really buy one side versus the other. So really, let's discuss both possibilities here. So let's say these layoffs are indeed happening. and the remains of Toys for Bob are being reduced to a Call of Duty, backup studio.
Yeah.
What does this mean for, the Crash Bandicoot series as well as the Spyro series?
Yeah. What that means, obviously, that means no Spyro, which sucks. Which sucks for Spyro, because Spyro should have at least got his one chance to have a good new game like Crash. For the Crash Bandicoot series, this is pretty much, once again, it's gonna go on the shelf, and it's just gonna be a dusty game case on a shelf. For Toys for Bob, it's basically the same thing that happened with Vicarious Vision, except for the fact that instead of being stuck on Blizzard projects, Toys for Bob is potentially stuck with Duty. Your thought?
Okay, so I'm pretty much in agreement with everything you just stated. I think if the layoffs are true and they are reduced to a supporting studio for the development of Call of Duty games, then this all but spells the end for the Crash Bandicoot series as well as the Spyro games. I think this is the final nail in the coffin. We won't see any more games for either of those series, and it's really unfortunate too, considering those two games as well as the Jack and Dexter's, not Jack and Dexter's, the Ratchet and Clank series are pretty much the last great Western platformers left on the market. And even then, Ratchet and Clank is kind of deviated away from being a platformer as more of a third-person shooter now. But
what Western AAA.
Yeah, Western AAA platformers. Yeah. So this pretty much spells the end for Crash and Spyro, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
But let's sit here and speculate on, let's say Activision's statement's true. They haven't laid anybody off, and yes, they're providing support for Call of Duty, but they're not, looking to, move on from Crash and Spyro. They're still looking to support Crash Bandicoot and Spyro overall. In that case, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, because if this is temporary, which I hope personally, this is just temporary. I feel like this is just some freelancers that stopped, that weren't rehired for stuff, which happens all the time in various different industries. So this is nothing new. B, this definitely shows that the development cycle for this particular upcoming Call of Duty type, and potentially some stuff for Call of Duty Warzone 3, is absolutely fucked. Most likely because of the pandemic.
Yeah, and this could be just a reaction to that, to get more people on their yearly title that sells the big bucks. They need more hands on deck.
Yeah,
and they're just pulling away from their other studios.
And I will get to the big bucks in a second. God,
yeah, because that's very important. So,
but yeah, and
I guess my final takeaway. Go ahead.
Yeah, final takeaway. There is hope, especially for Spyro, to get a Spyro 4, like Crash got a Crash 4, and for more just Crash Spyro games in general.
Yeah, as I said, that's my final takeaway overall, is stay tuned. As I said, I imagine people are going to talk about it more, and we're going to get more reputable sources reporting on the situation.
And if so, we will definitely follow up. Huge. And I said earlier, speaking of the big fucking number, this print money. So, full year Call of Duty premium unit sales grew over 40% year over year. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War sales doubled 70% growth. And the Call of Duty in-game net bookings on console and PC grew more than 50% year over year in quarter 4. So this makes money. This prints money. It's like that old gif of like Miyamoto with a DS that just prints money. That's Activision with Call of Duty. Print money.
Yes. So, like I said, Call of Duty is Activision's #1 priority. It's probably just an all hands on deck situation, just to make sure this game releases and a playable and decent state.
Yeah, and get content out for Call of Duty Warzone because grew 50% year over.
Yeah, because there's just no way otherwise that
These numbers are mind-boggling. How Call of Duty keeps selling as well as it does and continues to grow. When there was a period of time, we all thought Call of Duty was dead. It was dead.
Well, that's the thing when you're a multi-billion-dollar company is you find a way. You always find a way or a product or something.
Yeah, and
that'll come along.
And hopefully, this is an Activision pulling a dumb move and putting literally all of its studio eggs in the Call of Duty basket. Because while Call of Duty does make a lot of money, if the Toys for Bob thing is a permanent thing, need to be careful. Need to be careful, Activision.
Well, I said there's also the possibility that we didn't talk about that. Let's say Toys for Bob is pulled from Crash and Spyro entirely.
Yeah.
That they could always acquire or enlist the help of another studio to continue making the Crash and Spyro games.
I guess
that's the least likely scenario, though. I feel like if they're pulling the plug on Toys for Bob, like entirely making the games, then they're pulling the plug on the series just overall in general.
And that, again, be very careful, Activision, if that's the case. Reminder, if that's don't put all the eggs in the Call of Duty basket, because there will come a day, all good things will inevitably end. And that basket is going to tear, and all the eggs are going to fall out.
Yeah. So with that is all the news we have for the week. Continue to stay tuned because really soon, hopefully this upcoming weekend, but maybe not, we'll be doing our E3 predictions, and there may or may not be some different cool things we do for that episode.
Yes, the way too early E3 prediction special. But yeah,
we're getting close and close to the point to where it won't be the too early point anymore. It'll just be early.
It'll still be early.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is Byron.
And this is Slade.
And we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Everybody have a good night.
Good night. Or good day. Whatever time. Bye-bye.
Yeah.